Ryan.
And together, we
We
are
are
the
the
Northwest
Northwest
Sports
Sports
Fanatics.
Fanatics.
Back at you guys with a new video. I know it's been a minute. This video is presented by Rip City Beat, and I got PJ out there.
Right. The Beat.
And we got a whole lot to discuss. We got the Blazers Summer League. We got Mr. Lanzo Ball
Right.
showing out.
Right.
And we got some NFL news from two superstars, Kirk Cousins and Le'Veon Bell.
All right. So let's talk about Las Vegas, the Summer League. I don't think anyone really anticipated the Blazers doing a whole lot, during the Summer League session.
Nope.
They got to the championship game against the Los Angeles Lakers, lost a heartbreaker 110-98 last night.
And with the Summer League, I believe they started 1-2 in the preliminary games, but
Right.
once the tournament started, they kind of gelled together, picked it up a little bit. Of course, they was led by Mr. Caleb Swanigan.
Right.
Wow, out of Purdue, first team All NBA Summer League. He averaged 14 points, 10 rebounds, and man, 4 straight wins. Zach Collins went down a little bit, but he went down and Swanigan said, "No problem, I got us. Get on my back."
Right. So Caleb, aka Biggie Swanigan, 6'9", big wing player, 250 pounds. I think this was obviously we were kind of wondering, okay, who's going to be the better draft pick between Zach Collins and Caleb Swanigan? We gave up 2 picks to move up to get Collins.
Right.
He's definitely not ready. So
No.
a lot of Blazer fans were a little disappointed in his progression in Summer League, but we definitely got a nice, sweet surprise with Swanigan. He looks like he belongs. I mean,
Yes.
you could literally throw him into the starting lineup as our starting 4, and I think fans would be okay with that. I mean, he still has room to grow. Was on pace going into those last 2 games in Summer League to be the only 4th rookie to average a double-double in Summer League. And check out the other names: Blake Griffin,
Okay.
our own Kevin Love,
Okay.
right,
K-Love.
right, and then Maurice Spates.
Wow.
So, I mean, he definitely showed that he knows how to box out.
Mhm.
He knows how to hustle. He goes for rebounds. He's a pretty good shooter, and surprisingly, his outside game, 3-point range and 18 to 20 footers isn't too bad for his size at 6'9".
Yeah, he's a very versatile player. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is I want to see how his movement is on them pick and rolls when the big man got to switch out on these littler, quicker, athletic guys.
Right. So as we watch just right there, the nice little pick and pop.
Yeah.
He's a good free throw shooter. He is a little raw when you watch him run up and down the floor.
Mhm.
He definitely looks kind of like, I don't know, maybe kind of part street baller ish with the way he gets down in the post. But that nitty gritty street baller ish vibe that you get from him,
Toughness.
It just shows that toughness and hustle, and that's exactly what the Blazers needed in this 2017 draft.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a huge spark for the Blazers. One of the players I was kind of disappointed in, and maybe because I'm a Maryland guy,
Right.
is my guy Jake Layman with the dunk. I mean, he averaged 15 points per game for the Summer League, but if you look at it, it's okay. But he only shot 27% from the field. 13 for 31 from 3. And Stott said he's been working all summer long on that shot. It definitely didn't look like it in this summer.
Right. Well, Pat Connaughton and Layman, I mean, we only knew what we were going to get from them during Summer League.
Right.
As those pictures that we just saw of Swanigan, his story is really great, going from being homeless and going from school to school, losing all that weight,
And overweight.
and being overweight, and then finding a way to have that toughness. And you can tell he has a little edge to him. And I know, whether he wants to admit it or not, I think he wants to prove that he's better than Zach Collins, based off the draft status. And he wants to prove to people that he is the best draft pick, arguably, maybe since CJ McCollum, in the drafts that we've had. Based on those first 8 games going 5-3, I mean, I think we found a gem.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. Again, me being a Big Ten guy, with Maryland being my favorite team, I got a chance to watch Swanigan just give Maryland fits inside, outside, blocks, steals, all of the hustle plays, takes charges. And on top of all of that, he's a pretty good free throw shooter also.
Right. And I think he's going to push some of our wing players that maybe aren't giving 100% effort on every play, because I mean, obviously we have trade bait, which we'll get into with Carmelo Anthony in just one moment. But you look at the wings that we have, Aminu and Harkless. I mean, we're pretty deep,
right?
With the forward positions,
Turner
Evan Turner, and then you could put Crabbe at shooting guard, small forward. I mean, you can kind of move a lot of these guys around. But I really like the vibe that we're getting now. Is it going to turn us into a contender this year?
Right.
I don't know if I would go that far, but as far as moving forward and the quality of player that we're getting with him, I was impressed, man. I knew he was going to be good, but did I really think that he'd be able to get you a double-double in pretty much average throughout the whole 8 games in summer league? I didn't think so. So I think he's really proving people wrong that, hey, you know what? Believe in Biggie,
Right.
believe in Caleb Swanigan, and then I think, like I was mentioned to you before, he is going to be the new fan favorite in Portland moving forward.
All right, and as you said, they played against the Los Angeles Lakers
Right.
in the championship game, which the most talked about player of the summer league, Mr. Lonzo Ball.
Right. So before we go into Lonzo Ball, quickly let's touch on Carmelo Anthony.
Melo.
Right. So there is a little rumor with Carmelo Anthony trying to come to Portland, but it all depends on his situation in New York. As we were talking with PJ and,
Right.
kind of consulting, it sounds like it might be a 10 to 20% chance that he lands in Portland. But, it's going to be one of those things that everything is going to have to fall perfectly for it to happen.
Hey, I would definitely approve of any combination of Turner, Harkless trade with the first round pick for Melo or Crab. Don't get me wrong, great players already have chemistry with the team, but when you get a chance to significantly upgrade a roster spot, you don't hesitate on it.
Right. And it sounds like there is a holdup with Houston and Cleveland, because if that deal was going to happen, it would have already happened, it sounds like. So it's either stay in New York and then I guess maybe Rockets, the next scenario, and then last but not least, the Portland Trailblazers. But if you think about that, Dame, CJ, Melo, Nurkic, that'd be pretty nasty. I mean, that definitely would increase our chances of getting to the Western Conference Finals, even if it's only for a 1-year rental.
Hey, that is something that Blazers fans would definitely be proud of, just to have an opportunity to compete with the best.
Even if it was only for 1 year, maybe it would allow free agents to want to come to Portland. Seeing Melo come to Portland, at least give us a shot.
Right.
But moving forward, let's go to Lanzo, a.k.a. Lonzo Ball.
BBB.
The Summer League MVP. No surprise, like I mentioned in one of the older videos that we did a few videos back, this was the player that I thought was least likely to bust in this draft. Yes, it's early. Yes, I know it's Summer League, but he's already showing that as far as passing, court vision, athleticism, if he can just stay healthy, there's nothing holding this Jason Kidd comparison. 16.3 points per game, 9.3 assists, 7.7 rebounds, and he didn't even have to play in the championship game against Portland in the Summer League.
And he also threw in 2 steals with that. 2 triple doubles for him.
Right. 4 games with 10 assists.
Man, his court vision is just magic. LeBron, John Stockton, and then you sit back and you think, this guy's only 19 years old.
Right. 10 assists in 4 games. No other rookie in Summer League history, not just this season, had more than 1. Just think about that for just a second. Like the punch passes, the half court passes, the full court passes, the quarterback passes. I mean, he anticipates the plays, a play before they happen. And that's what really gives him that competitive edge. He's got a big body. He can body himself and go to the hole. He's not afraid. Ball handling skills are good. The only knock on him is maybe his shooting, like the style of his shooting, obviously his form. But if it goes in, it goes in.
Yeah, that's all that matters, man. 2 points is 2 points. I don't care if you shoot it underhand Rick Barry style.
Right.
But with Lonzo, of course, his shooting, everybody was on him about his shooting the first game, but it was just one game. And then he came back and dropped 36?
Right. And
then everybody was like, okay, if you look at his stats back at UCLA, I believe he shot over 40% from 3-point range.
Right. So not too bad. It's scary to think how good this team can be in a few years.
Right.
And think about the impact of Ingram, right? Lopez that they just brought in, Julius Randle. This team is going to be scary.
You still got Clarkson coming off the bench.
Right. And obviously a nice performance by their rookie last night from Utah. 30 points, 10 boards, I believe, against the Blazers in that championship game. So I know people were thinking, this guy will never be a Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd-like. But I mean, if this guy sticks it and stays healthy and they re-sign him and he plays there for 10 plus years, it wouldn't surprise me if this guy becomes a household name. And obviously wearing all the different shoe brands, Jordans, Nikes, the Kobe's, right? The Adidas, the Big Baller brand. it seems like he's kind of maybe auditioning himself to maybe these shoe companies to give them one last shot to maybe cash in. And maybe his dad wasn't crazy after all. Maybe this guy is as good as we thought, maybe in his mind that he was. He's obviously the best of all the sons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not really too confident in all the others. Maybe LaMelo can get there if he grows a little bit.
Maybe.
You know, but he'll be only a shooter. But as far as all-around player, this is the best all-around player that I've seen since, I would say, Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd, maybe Grant Hill,
right,
kind of ish, but his knack of making all of his teammates better.
Right.
His passing is contagious.
Right.
And you can just see as the summer league went along how the Lakers team just kind of gelled together, and it was crazy to see that in the summer league and to see that being sparked by Mr. Lonzo Ball.
Right. And his pick and roll game is nice, and I love his demeanor. He's never too up. Right. He's never too down. He's never smiling a lot. He's never frowning. He's pretty much just kind of stationary. And I like that because that's good for him based on how his dad is, you know, being a little bit
outspoken one.
Okay. Right. So this big baller brand has something going for it. So if none of these shoe companies cash in, they're going to make a lot of money moving forward because he's going to prove to them that arguably he'll be a top 5 point guard right out of the gates.
Mm-hmm.
And if he keeps improving year in and year out and can stay injury free, it wouldn't shock me in the next, 2 to 3 years if he's considered in the upper echelon top 3 point guards in the whole NBA.
So shout out to Magic, man. He's been on the job for a couple of months now, and he's already making a positive impact.
Right.
I know next year they got a boatload of cap money.
Cap.
Paul George,
right.
LeBron James.
Right.
So we will definitely see.
And the crazy thing is that he's such a leader that even if they bring in LeBron James or Paul George, this is Lonzo Ball's team. Don't get it twisted any bit. It's going to be Lonzo Ball's team for as long as he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's a shame in saying that. I mean, I think he's really showing how good he is in Summer League. And if I had to take a guess on who would win Rookie of the Year, I would say Lonzo Ball or maybe Jason Tatum from Boston, just being NBA ready and getting the opportunity. Right. But those two guys are going to have the easiest chance to win it. But then you got a few other surprises, Dennis Smith and some of these other guys, Dennis Smith Jr. and some
he made a name for himself too.
Right. Summer. But I love Lonzo Ball's game, and shout out to the Lakers making great decisions moving forward. And it's kind of crazy, but I really love the picks that they did because now it makes that rivalry against the Blazers even sweeter. Like, can you imagine how many Laker jerseys are going to be in the Moda?
Oh yeah.
When they come to town, I mean, that's going to be almost a must-see ticket moving forward for the next 10 years.
All right, so there you guys have it, a little Blazers Summer League, NBA Summer League action recap. Let's move on to some NFL news.
Okay, so let's touch on. Wow, I know this really touches you close to the heart, being from the DMV, being from DC. Let's talk about the Washington Redskins and their problems right now with Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, as you know, his contract franchise tag deadline to sign him to extension came and went.
Right.
The franchise threw Kirk under the bus. He turned down a $53 million guaranteed back in May.
They did.
And they wanted everybody to know that.
Right. So 2016, 2017, 2 years back to back with the franchise tag, which is very rare. $43.9 million guaranteed. That's the highest in a 2-year span, I believe, ever out of any two years with any of the quarterbacks. I know Tom Brady got like around 36 million. Tony Romo had a couple years. Stafford
was up there.
Was up there as well. So going west of the 49ers seemed like maybe a possibility, but it's kind of seeming like it more of a reality now, moving forward. Now, he is going up on his 6th season, so he has kind of gained some tenure with the Washington Redskins. But check this out. The last 2 seasons, he's been very durable. He's played all 16 games in the last 2 seasons. He's 28 years old. Check out the stat line. 2016, 25 TDs, 12 picks. So it's a great ratio. 4,917 yards, 97.2 QBR rating, which is fantastic. You just barely missed the playoff push in that season. The year before, 2015, slightly better. 29 TDs, 11 picks, 4,166 yards. So a little bit less on the passing yardage, 101.6 rating, and you made the playoffs. So like I was mentioning before, this is a franchise quarterback, and the best one that you've had kind of, I would say maybe Doug Williams. I mean, this is, to me, it's not really a system guy. I really think this guy can thrive in any situation.
Right.
But obviously, if you go somewhere with Kyle Shanahan, it's going to make it easier. Or if you stay in Washington with the weapons like Jordan Reed and all the other pieces that you have, he can thrive. But it's just kind of sad to see that this might not be someone long term that Washington locks up.
And I don't see why we wouldn't lock him up. Like you said, he's been our best quarterback since maybe Doug Williams, and probably the best franchise quarterback we had since Joe Theismann.
Right.
You asked around at least 5 execs in the NBA, said in the NFL, say that he's a top 15 quarterback in the league.
Right.
He's definitely worth the numbers, worth the money. His last 2 years, we won a division. We got one game close to making it back to the playoffs.
Right.
And it's just a circus, a whirlwind. And welcome to the life of a Washington Redskins sports fan.
Right. And also, too, I just like his drive and his competitiveness. He kind of reminds me of a not as good as a Drew Brees, but he's got that Drew Brees leadership. You know, coming from Michigan State, he had a chip on his shoulder, and being kind of an undersized quarterback, I believe he's 6'3". You know, he knows how to put the ball in the right spots, and he really made certain players stand out. I mean, it's like one thing when you have, you know, Pierre Garçon or Deshaun Jackson, but what about Jamison Crowder? Guys that are kind of under the radar that he really blossomed into a player. And then look what he did with Jordan Reed.
Not even Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed he's second best tight end in the league.
Right.
But he revitalized Vernon Davis's career. Look what he did when he went to the Broncos. He didn't do nothing, and he came to the Redskins and played with Kirk Cousins, and he helped revitalize his career.
Right. And you got to think, it's not like they have a top, you know, 3 offensive line in the NFL like the Cowboys, right? They haven't really had a solidified running back to help them out. That's been a consistent guy. They kind of rotate different guys, you know, week in and week out.
Right.
So it's going to be one of those things. I just wish they could just get it locked up, because I know, as you being a Redskin fan and me being a Buccaneer fan, all we ever wanted prior to about 2-3 years ago, a franchise QB.
Quarterback.
You know, I got Jameis in the draft, and I was really thinking this is the guy for you moving forward. But it looks like with Mr. Allen and the rest of the franchise, that going to the 49ers may be a true reality moving forward.
Hey, man, get Bruce out of there. Well, it's another superstar that the franchise tag, the deadline came and went, Mr. Le'Veon Bell.
All right, so in 2016, 261 carries, 1,268 yards, a 4.9 average, a studly back, 7 TDs rushing, 2 receiving. Looking like he wants about $12 million for 1 year, which is kind of high just for that
running back.
For a running back, and he wants to be the highest paid running back in the NFL, hands down. That's a lot to ask for when you're very injury prone for all that money.
Yeah, it is a lot to ask for, but when you look at him when he's on the field, the impact that he makes is his running the ball, his catching the ball, just his presence on the field makes Pittsburgh a Super Bowl contender.
Right. So as far as power backs, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Marshawn Lynch, and LeGarrette Blount, he has the most deceptive speed as well with power and athleticism out of those 4 backs, obviously being a little bit younger besides Todd Gurley compared to those 4 backs. But he's got the whole package. But the thing is can he stay on the field? But like you mentioned, when he does, he turns Pittsburgh into an AFC championship, at least contender, to kind of battle it out with New England. And in most cases or not, they lose to New England. But just to get there, you know, there's not very many teams that can actually get to the AFC championship. Goal line back right there with the touchdown. It's not like Pittsburgh's line is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
I would say top 10 in the NFL.
Yeah,
typically, they got some nice pieces there, but he makes a lot of these cuts and moves on his own. But like I said, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Throughout these seasons. And I know a lot of people think he's the best running back in the league, but think about some of these other players that are on the up and up. Jay Ajayi, Jordan Howard, David Johnson, which we both like, Ezekiel Elliott, Devontae Freeman, DeMarco Murray, LaShawn McCoy, Melvin Gordon. So there's a lot of competition there. Right. But as far as being a power back, I mean, if he could just stay on the field, I don't think people would really think it's that crazy to give him the money.
His patience and his vision is going to change the way running backs run the ball, the way he sets up his blocks, and he's so patient. It's amazing. He rejected a 5-year contract that was going to pay him $30 million over the first 2 years and $42 million over 3, with an average of $12 million a year. What you holding out for?
Right. You know what I mean? And think about it, you're with Big Ben, even though he was
What you
threatening,
holding out
right,
for?
maybe to retire. You got Antonio Brown, arguably the best small receiver or overall receiver in the league.
Best receiver in the league.
You know, the defense could be improved, you know, but they have been getting slightly better.
You're right.
But just like Lonzo Ball, right? They got the vision, and it really shows. And these guys that have that vision, whether it be on the basketball court or the football field, it's just amazing to watch. Like when you watch him here make these cuts, doesn't it remind you a little bit of Barry Sanders? Like, I mean, you know, he does things that are a little different, but just his patience, it reminds me of Barry.
His stutter steps and then his burst to go.
Right. He can go super slow for the first maybe 5 seconds of the play and then just turn it on, where most guys are, balls to the wall, 110%, just flying out the gates, and then they, run into the defense and then fall over. So,
well, he said he wanted to set a precedence for running backs in as far as how much money they make. He didn't want to sign for $12 million a year, though he's going to pay on the franchise tag for $12 million a year.
Right.
The next running back, which is Shady McCoy, he's getting paid $8.
Right. So quite a bit of increase already at this point. So in your opinion, best running back in the league right now?
1A. And David Johnson is 1B.
Right. So I think I would have to go David Johnson, and then we'll see what Zeke does in the next 2 to 3 years, if he can consistently keep it up. Right. But it's almost not fair because they got the best offensive line in football. But like I would say, 1A, 1B. Speaking of David Johnson, he's going to try to be the first running back in a long time, 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards.
Ooh,
little Roger Craig action.
Yeah,
so
Marshall Faulk.
Right, Marshall Faulk. So it might be able to happen, but definitely between David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell in fantasy, I know those are going to be probably one of the top 2 guys picked up right out the gates.
All right, so there you guys have it. You got some more you wanna blab about?
I think that's pretty much it for now. I know, you know what I mean. We'll get in touch and we'll do a little bit more Blazer information when we hear anything about Melo. Obviously the
training camps is starting. Football starting.
Right, football's right around the corner. We got some trash talk. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. We'll give you some updates with that. So we're getting into the primetime season. This is the last month where we have absolutely no football. So we're getting to that point where we're almost there.
No takeaway from the MLB All-Star game and the home run contest. I really did enjoy that.
Right. That was actually very entertaining, low scoring.
Yeah.
But speaking of Aaron Judge, I don't want to say he's the face of the MLB, because you got to actually win some rings like Jeter to really put your face out there. Correct. But for the guys that haven't won rings, Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, he's pushing it now, especially being in New York. So we'll have a little thing on him moving forward as well.
All right. So there you guys have it. Northwest Sports Fanatics Show presented to you by Rip City Beat.
The Beat.
I'm Marcus. This is Orion. Only got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us?
Northwest Sports Fanatics.